This week's events saw local trailblazers share their stories of overcoming barriers.
I was brought to the Gibraltar bar in 1994 and I've been in the game for the last 30 years. 13 years ago, in 2012, on International Women's Day of all days, I became Gibraltar's first female Queen's Counsel.
I was the first woman to be made a High Court judge, but I remained the only woman in the judiciary for 16 years, and indeed beyond, because my replacement when I retired last year is a man.
But it wasn't just speeches. Also demonstrated was the creative spirit of Gibraltar's women.
Anyway, they're all here, and they're also here from across the globe.
Powerful discussions on gender equality also featured, with many agreeing that while we've come a long way, there is still plenty to do.
It can only benefit society to have more women at the top. But in order to get to that point, we need to enable women at the beginning of their careers, in the middle of their careers, and at the end of their careers. So I think the gap we see, at least here in Gibraltar at the top, is because of that middle section and a lot of that is to do, I think, with the pressures of primarily motherhood.
If you work, you need to have that support network to be able to work and, I don't know, just a simple thing like taking your children to appointments. Your office, I work in a school, so I can't just keep leaving my classroom to go out, so it's very, very challenging.
When I say that it's difficult, that is an understatement. It is extraordinarily difficult to try and balance your work and your children simultaneously, particularly in those circumstances. But I firmly believe that the first thing that women have to do, and the first thing that women have a responsibility to do, is to talk about just how difficult that is.
With my 20-month-old, the reality of it is that there has been no such thing as adoption leave, maternity leave, or that ability to take time off. Because I think the longer you are in a profession, the greater the responsibility that you have.
Caregiving is not just the responsibility of women. It should be a choice that can be shared equally.
There needs to be a shift in perception. Otherwise, it's not insurmountable, but it's very difficult for women in a way which I believe it doesn't need to be.
We still have gaps with women in leadership, with maternity pay, which is what it was years ago, I think, and hasn't been increased over the years.
Although huge strides have been made, there's also more to be done in the area of gender equality. And I think one of these areas where progress should be pushed and should be made is the area of parental leave.
We're working so hard with parental leave legislation because I think that's going to be something that's going to bring parity to men and women in the workplace. Then it will be about a choice. A lot of it will be about the couple making a choice as to how they want to work on shared parental leave.
A great phrase that I heard recently was that women of this generation were brought up to believe that we could achieve anything, but boys were not brought up to understand what that meant for them. And now I think we have to do that raising of the next generation to understand that boys don't have to stick to their own gender stereotypes, and also that they do have to understand that, you know, your female partner having a career outside of the home does mean that you're going to have to contribute in different ways as a team.
We still have to work a lot harder to get to the positions that the men, I'm not going to say they find it easy, but I think we have to work harder.
There was a time when women were denied education by being prevented from attending universities. Thankfully, we've gone beyond that stage. Academia is open to all of us with gender blindness, girls and boys. But it's about, as I said, educating our young boys and girls of the importance of equal roles within the domestic setting. Because I think it is that will empower women to be able to hold down and go for high-powered jobs.
The importance of Women's Day going forward is going to be the education of the next generation of females, but also of males, to support equity rather than equality, because we also have to understand we are different and we bring different things to society. And that's not a bad thing. We really need to have different perspectives in order to make different decisions.
It's about giving women an equitable opportunity when they come back to work, and even when they apply for jobs, how women are viewed, and how something like motherhood and pregnancy is not and should not be a hindrance.
Your gender won't dictate what your skills are, or what your talents are, or what your passions are. And we should just be encouraging everybody to pursue all aspects of life that works for them. Each family is different.
According to the data from the World Economic Forum, due to the systematic barriers and biases that women face, both in personal and professional spheres, it will take until 2158, which is roughly 5 generations from now, to reach full gender parity.
I am in the very fortunate position as well to be in a government that is very progressive and that is very happy to look at these issues, and that is very happy to have lots of very active women amongst their ranks.
We are 50% of the population, yet we are still treated like a minority group across many areas in society, in Gibraltar and across the world. So I think in leadership positions and politics and STEM careers and all the things that we've spoken about, you know, we need greater representation.
I think we have great examples dating back throughout history and across all sectors of our community of great success stories of women that should empower other women and young girls.
We also can't take progress for granted. I think we're seeing across the world now that women's rights and human rights can be rolled back. So one can't assume that progress always moves forward. So I think things like Women's International Day, it's important because we need to make sure the momentum continues in the right direction.
We're going to achieve a hell of a lot more by being together and acknowledging our issues and helping each other out.
And at the Ladies That Rock the Rock Gala Dinner, a further celebration of female accomplishment. This week has truly been a testament to the achievements of women. It's also reminded us of the work still to be done in Gibraltar and beyond.